All right, everybody, welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. Got a super special guest in studio today, Mr. Randy Allen. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
absolutely. So Randy, we got a history with doing some Spread the Positive podcast, and come a long way. It's been really cool. Just becoming friends with you and seeing all the stuff that you're getting into, and obviously we have a lot to cover today, but just wanted to start there and say thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your support over the years. You've done a lot for Spread the Positive, so thank you for that, man.
I appreciate that, Trent.
Awesome. All right, so we're running for mayor. We're running for mayor again. Here we go. All right, man. So let's talk about it. I know we were talking off mic. You've been in Murfreesboro since 1976.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth grade for you, so not born here but pretty much raised your whole life. It's your heart, your soul, everything that you know and love is right here in Murfreesboro. So just talk to us a little bit about your journey here in Murfreesboro and why you decided to take this plunge, man.
Hey, once again, I appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely.
I'm very honored to be in your studio
Right.
instead of
at the tech center with the USB microphone. Yep. Come a long way.
And I do want to say, you shared that vision with me. It's been about 4 years ago.
Dang,
a little over
4 years ago.
Wow,
yeah, that's crazy.
And when you shared it, I mean, I immediately understood the value of what you were trying to do.
Well, thank you.
And I when we had that forum
at
the
at Puckett's,
man, I mean, I
There's
just
some
felt
good
like
energy.
right there was, it was like the launching pad. I mean, you've taken off from there. So,
man, that means a lot.
A lot of kudos to you for
absolutely
sticking to your dream, man.
Hey,
and making it happen.
Thank you. That means so much. Well, take us back. Take us back, man.
So, you're right. We moved here in 1976. I had, it was fifth grade, and, I had grown up in a retail family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was transferred about every year. So by fifth grade, I'd lived in 17 different houses in 4 different states.
Oh my gosh.
We're originally, from Tennessee, but we were moving to Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, and different parts of Tennessee, which, up in Newport, Tennessee, it seems like a different state.
Very much.
Well.
I'm familiar with Newport. That's that back way coming out of Asheville.
That's
I love
right.
that drive, actually. That's awesome.
But it was, so we got here and we wanted to stay. We loved Murfreesboro.
Nice.
And we loved Rutherford County. We'd been in Shelbyville a couple years before and really loved that. But when we got to Murfreesboro, we wanted to stay. And so I came in halfway through fifth grade at Bellwood.
Nice.
We relocated during that year over to Scotland Acres. And so I spent sixth grade at Reeves Rogers. And in seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, I was over at MTCS. And
shouts to the
very
Cougars.
small. I mean, very small, school at that time. They were building one more grade every year. So like I was in seventh, they just started an eighth. I was in eighth, they just started a ninth.
That's convenient.
Yes, every year I'm just moving one more forward.
Yes, sir.
And then Oakland High School, where I graduated.
Nice.
And then on to Lipscomb and MTSU. But, my career has spanned several different industries, from manufacturing to small business to retail.
Yeah, family business. Yeah, I mean, the family business
family
too.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so 1986.
It's a good year.
Yeah, it was.
That's my birthday year.
It's even better. It sounds even better now.
It sure does.
1986. That just eclipses anything I was going to talk about.
Right.
Trent Denson was born in '86.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So anyway, my family opened a business here, the first 10-minute oil change in Tennessee.
That's so crazy.
We had the concept had not come here. It was out in Indiana, where the company that we had some family there, and they had come back and told us about it, and we researched it. And it turned out it was a viable concept.
Yeah.
And at that time, I mean, you just took your car in and, for an oil change or something, and maybe you might get it back by the weekend or something like that.
Man.
It was a long, process. But anyway, so we brought that here. The first location is over here on Broad Street,
Man,
right by Sherwin-Williams, across from Big Lots. The second location was in Hendersonville, which is where I met my wife of soon to be 30 years.
Wow, congratulations.
August 9th.
In a row, as Don Day says, right?
In a row.
In a row.
30 years in a row. That's right.
Shouts to Don.
So third location was at over on Memorial. And then the fourth one was out at Church Street. So
nice.
We,
That's
was
quick. That's quick expansion.
Man, it was.
Yeah.
And so I was the director of operations for that business, and we hired a lot of people we run into in the community are like, man, you gave me my first job.
Man,
and
that's
that
so
kind
cool.
of thing. And hopefully it was a great experience for them.
What was that? I mean, that had to be so crazy, bringing something that innovative at that time. I mean, looking at it now, there's one on, literally every corner just about. And that was y'all. That's so cool. Like, that blows my mind.
We had, we would come to work on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And cars would, we'd open at 8. We'd start getting there, around 7:15. Cars would just start lining up.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen them at like Jones Car Wash,
the
way Jones Car Wash used to be, just lined up down the street.
Totally.
And so every, it was nonstop, all day, every day. But after a certain number of years, like you said, it was a lot more competition. The price of oil, petroleum, everything was going up. And it's just hard to, continue to put that burden, pass that cost along. When you knew you were doing it 5 years ago for $7.95 with a coupon, and now you're charging $15.95 with a coupon. The price is doubling, and more competition. And so we moved on from that business, sold it in 2002, the last location. And so, from there, I had moved on to work for the state of Tennessee in the Department of Labor.
Right.
And didn't think that was anything that I really had. I mean, I wasn't planning to do that.
Right.
Much like running for mayor. I didn't plan on it. It just kind of, it just kind of happened.
Some God stuff for sure.
Some God stuff. And then from there, working for the Davidson County Metro government.
Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Working with different businesses and employers through the 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, the downturn in the economy, the recession, people just losing long time jobs, big pay jobs, you know, and coming in to, to meet with me and talking about, man, I'll just take anything.
Yeah.
I mean, is McDonald's hiring?
Right.
I mean, I'm just is Burger King, fast food, anything that just to get a paycheck.
It was a great time to be coming out of college. Just kidding.
And,
it was the struggle was real for sure.
That's right. And, so many people would come to us and say,
so
hey man, I got my diploma.
Yeah.
Where's my job?
I'm talking about like MBAs and stuff back then too. I mean, it was wild. That was really wild. So you're doing what? I mean, so was that actually placement or just like walking people through that process?
So, I mean, it was a little bit of a, my role was a little different than the average. I was mainly working with companies to identify talent, to develop programs with educational partners that led to certifications for jobs that were needed here. Part of that was bringing, mechatronics to the high school level, bringing it to the community college level.
Nice.
Nissan and Bridgestone both valued those programs. Working with the TCAT, the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, which was right next door. What we knew was there were certain jobs that were in demand. the highly skilled positions at Nissan and Bridgestone and Ingram, where you're working with robots and that type of thing. And that was important, but also, dental assistants. There was a dental assistant program next door that was every one of their students was coming out with placement once they were certified. Pharmacy techs. I mean, just unbelievable demand for pharmacy techs. And so
you're literally like diving into all these career paths, helping people understand it, helping navigate the resources, doing all the things to, I mean, that's a lot of different industries.
And then, on that other end, asking and working with, these educational providers, not just here, but, there's a lot of colleges, like, for example, people would come to me and say, hey, I want to be an EMT.
Right.
Well, the closest program at that time was Vol State.
Okay.
Up in Sumner County.
Gotcha.
So people were willing to drive outside of their local area.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't have as much virtual and online type stuff as we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And so working with those entities to partner with businesses. And I mean, it turns out that a lot of our economic development is based on our workforce.
Yeah.
The ability for them to, just like everybody else right now, they're struggling to recruit people and retain.
It's kind of just another cycle, right, man?
It really is.
Man, you're familiar with that.
Yeah, very familiar. So
that's a very convenient thing to be familiar with,
and a
especially
a lot of those relationships and partnerships still exist.
Yeah.
And I'm in contact with people for different reasons all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Quite the networker for sure. Seeing it in action, and it's fun to watch for sure. So let's get into all things campaign, the mayor race, all of it, man. Talk to me. How are you feeling? Where are you at with it all? What's the big why? Hit us with all the hard hitting questions here.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I only have 2018 to compare it to.
Right.
And 2018 we started late. And the why was really I grew up here.
Yep.
And I share a lot of the values that many of our residents share, and I'm concerned about some of the things that are going on and some of the things I was seeing. And, in 18, I can just tell you, and we may have talked about this on a previous podcast, but 18, what I felt like I was running for was affordable housing was going to be a huge issue. I just thought it's going to be big,
Mm-hmm.
And I had some insight into that. And so, what I found out talking to people and listening to their concerns is that it wasn't as high a priority. More people were concerned about
probably should have been.
Yes,
it probably should have been. But anyway, yeah.
And the broadband thing, which was part of my infrastructure plan.
Mm-hmm.
We never. We were seeing it as a disadvantage in some areas of Rutherford County, but we had no idea that it could, we would have what we experienced in 2020, where everybody went home, trying to work from home, trying to do school from home. So it would have been great if we'd been, 10 years ahead on the broadband issue.
Yeah.
And so, I just thought I needed to get out there and step up. And, I had spent some time, really deep diving into what the issues were and how, I could play a role, who were the key players and that type of thing. Not wanting to be a politician, not expecting that. And so.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So I just, I really felt like some of the issues that we were facing, just like I've done throughout my career.
Yeah.
The oil change was a niche.
Yep.
The Department of Labor. I was in Asheville, Davidson County government were, very timely.
Yeah.
I got a lot of experience at the worst times.
Right.
And, it really prepares you for the best times.
There you go. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And so, I just felt like that was the right thing to do. And we started late, and we were constantly, thinking there's more to do, where, I was trying to kick down doors, open doors that were not open. And so, we came in second.
Yep.
It was a
It's
good
close.
experience.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, here we are 4 years later, unfinished business.
Let's go.
Broadband is still an issue. Affordable housing has risen to the top. And, I left the campaign and went to work for a local organization, Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I just felt like, hey, if affordable housing is my thing, go where people are actually doing something about affordable housing.
Love that.
And
Love
so that's what I did, and I've spent 4 years there.
How's it been? Have you loved it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
There's so many elements to trying to provide affordable housing to families in our community. There is such a need for not just shelter, because this is really not just shelter, but playing a role in a pipeline that gets people into a stable, secure, dwelling where, it just improves. I mean, there's studies out there that show the educational rate of home ownership. It's elevated. Poverty, kids not being hungry. They've got a place to put their food. They've got a refrigerator. The simple things that we take for granted. It's very rewarding, and but it is it's much needed in our community. And so when I went there, they had a vision that I had been exposed to that during my time at United Way. I knew what the vision was for Habitat to do a subdivision. I had already started talking to them about how do we do this? How can you do this? And they had an idea. And so when I left and went to work for Habitat, the subdivision became a reality.
Yep.
And we're out there now fixing to finish up phase 1.
Man,
we've
so
got
exciting.
14 homes. We're going to dedicate one today at 4 o'clock.
Nice.
And another family will get in, some children will get their home. So at the end, we hope to have about 77 homes. That's what
incredible.
The site plan indicates. 77, and it'll take a few more years.
Yeah.
But, the thing about those types of programs, which are the type that are sustainable and help people, they're not the Band-Aid solution.
Right.
They're not just getting somebody in a hotel room for tonight or those types of things. They are they're so valuable because our community, these people will now be paying taxes.
Yeah.
They will be contributing to our school systems. They will be, their children will grow up with they can see there's a pathway to a better life.
Breaking that cycle, right?
It is. It's breaking the cycle.
I love that.
It is so key.
Yeah, man, that's got to be so rewarding, just day in, day out really walking your talk, if I might say. Literally, I think affordable housing is the biggest issue. I'm gonna go literally kick down doors and make it and be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Talk about spread the positive and bring light to what's going right, man. That's what I'm talking about. So here we are, 2020. You're doing all the Habitat and running for mayor again. Feels like we got some real momentum and things are going well. So what are some of the key topics this go around, and what do you want to tell the people?
Well, part of my role over the last several years, even before Habitat, was establishing relationships and partnerships with our municipalities.
Nice.
Eagleville, Smyrna, Laverne, Murfreesboro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about just hey, they know who I am. We actually work strategically to address some of the issues in their community, from my work at United Way to what I'm doing with Habitat.
Yes.
I'm that liaison between the nonprofit and the government entity that leads to the results of addressing issues in those communities. And so, one of the things that I hear so much from different people in the community is that, they're concerned about the 3 T's: trash, traffic, and taxes. And
that covers it all, doesn't it?
That's right.
You figure those 3 T's out, you're good.
And the county, is not the primary producer of solid waste. I mean, the entities inside our county are. So you could say, well, it is, a county issue. But Murfreesboro is probably the largest inside of our county producer of solid waste. But Smyrna and Laverne have solid waste issues too. They just address it a different way. Murfreesboro is the only one in the trash collection business. But they all need a seat at that table to help us resolve our solid waste issue. And I'm not just talking about the landfill. That's, that is a county issue. And there's a lot of things we need to resolve around the landfill. And there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. So usually when I'm out talking to people and, there's a lot of confusion about what's the Republic landfill and what's the county landfill. What's the, what about the water quality supply, things like that are issues. And most of that is related to is our Middle Point landfill a good neighbor? And that's really, that really gets to the heart of it. Are they, we don't like trash on the side of the road. We don't like our roads to be dirt. We don't like the stuff that comes out of a trash truck. And so all of those are things that we can work to resolve. There's a lot of different moving parts. The commission voted in 2018, 21-0 vote to not allow the landfill to expand. And still we're working on plan B. So what happens if the landfill closes? Where does our trash go? How much does it cost us? And so the commission has been working under the leadership of Commissioner Mike Cush to identify different options for that, opportunities. And then, Steve Piercy, Commissioner Piercy, has a lot of ideas about how we might be able to resolve some of that stuff. What's important in county government is that we elect commissioners to represent our area, our districts. And, any negotiation, anything we do to resolve the landfill issue should be Las Casas and Walter Hill should be highly represented.
Definitely.
Because it's in their community. And so I want to know what Commissioner Piercy has to say. I want to know what Commissioner P has to say. I want to know what Commissioner Rather has to say about that. Commissioner Harris. I want to hear their views before I land on, hey, this is my plan. Let's hear what, how we got here, where we're at. And I am somebody that likes to know the history.
Backstory.
The backstory. I need to hear that. And, having lived here, and I use this analogy all the time, I thought I knew everything, but I was I graduated from Leadership Rutherford in 2015.
Nice.
And you talking about an eye-opening experience.
I mean,
I was behind the scenes on things that I just thought I understood. And I now realize, hey, nobody understands really what's going on behind these closed doors. So, the traffic issue is not something that we can resolve as Rutherford County government without the help of Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and Eagleville working together on traffic plans, on transportation plans. We need to all be around the table talking about what our goals are, what's our strategy, and then we need to, be accountable.
Yeah.
We need to have measurable goals, and let's see some progress. I think that's the most frustrating thing I hear from people out in our community is, man, I mean, I didn't know all this was going on. The lack of transparency, the lack of trust in the person representing you. I mean, we take it for granted that we go out and vote every 4 years for our elected officials. And for some people, it's almost like they just go and hit a button. They don't know anything about that person. They don't know anything about, their past. What about their service to the community? And I remember, in 18, one of the things that continually came up from different conversations is, Randy, you have a deeper understanding of what's going on in this county than anyone I've ever met. That wasn't, to me, I was shocked to hear that. I didn't expect that. But when you talk to people and are talking about mental health issues in our community, we've done so much work with St. Thomas and Prevention Coalition for Success to identify issues like opioid and substance abuse. And what we found is that it's a ongoing issue. It has to do with our geographic location. It has to do with our growth. It has to do with our our educational system. We're not providing enough education in elementary. And I think most of us know, at least in city schools, I know that the DARE program was very, very well done. And people, kids would come home and say, hey, I learned about, not doing drugs today or whatever. When I was growing up, it was about, there was somebody that would come in from the fire department and talk about, you don't need two extension cords connected.
Right.
And the,
stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah,
So,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of opportunity to help on opioids and substance abuse. And so
that's huge. That's the backbone of a lot of all of our issues.
That's right.
For sure.
And so I serve on the advisory board for We Care, which is
Nice.
A partnership of substance and mental health providers.
Nice.
To to connect people to resources they need.
Nice.
In addition to that, I'm also the chair of the Rutherford County Wellness Council's Affordable Housing Committee.
Sweet.
And one of the things that's interesting, I think it'll be interesting to you and your listeners, is, like I said, I have a passion for affordable housing. And I'll have to go through this process a little bit. So every 3 years, because of St. Thomas's ascension now, nonprofit status, they are required to do a community health needs assessment. The result of that is what we call the CHIP, the Community Health Improvement Plan.
Nice. Okay.
And so we identify through surveys and one-on-ones and different resources, data that's available from different places like United Way and different state resources. We identify the top issues, health issues facing Rutherford County. And we do this in partnership with Vanderbilt and the health department here in Rutherford County as well. And so that we're in that process now. We've just completed the community health needs assessment.
Nice.
But in 19, when we did the current, what we call the current CHIP, affordable housing was identified as just so the area was called basic needs with an emphasis on affordable housing. And I thought, man, I knew affordable housing was an issue, but now we're looking at it as a health issue.
Yeah.
It's not just a economic issue. It's not just, but it is a health issue.
Yeah.
And that was identified through all of those resources, third-party resources, one-on-one surveys, things like that. So here we are now. We're in this process going through it again. And guess what? Affordable housing has risen to the top and is now not just a basic needs issue. It is a straight-on, high-level health issue in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
People
When
are
you think about
realizing
it, I mean, that's so, yeah, it's not
well,
easy to see
it
how
will-
that's not the case.
that's
Yeah,
right. Well, and it's impacting, education and law enforcement. I mean, it's unbelievable all the implications that are around that. So, so I've been working through that. Our chip will be for the new chip will come out at the end of the year, and it will be for 2023 through 2026, or
Wow.
3 year. And we'll be working on all those issues through the health department and
That's great.
other
So you're doing
organizations.
that regardless.
Right. Regardless.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
That's amazing.
We're talking about mental health. So let me tell you about some of the things we've done in mental health. I was very fortunate to have a good friend. And if this person is your friend, you know what I mean. But Dr. Linda Gilbert, who
Okay.
passed away early last year, she was the director of Murfreesboro City Schools and one of the most supportive people I've ever met. But anyway, we had a meeting with her. She had come to us and said, "Hey, we've got an issue in these elementary schools, and it's around mental health. We've got teachers who are unprepared to deal with mental health issues. They didn't teach them in college how to deal with those things. We've also got we've got parents who are relying on our counselors to help them with jobs and to help them with, the stress outside of in the household is coming into our classrooms." And she said, "What I'd like for you to do is to get together a group of community leaders and get them around the table and let me tell them what's going on and show them some data and try to come up with a solution for that." So we got, the normal people you would think of, people from different cities, people from fire department, sheriff's department, everybody around the table. And she made a presentation, and one of the things, she told about this, but she just, slammed her fist down on the table during part of this and said, and, she's not quick like that to anger or, but you could just tell the frustration, that I'm just so tired of sending these kids home to an environment where, they don't feel safe and they don't feel comfortable. And tomorrow we will start all over again, getting them back to normal. And so anyway, everybody kind of left that room and said, I understand, but there's really nothing we can do about it. It doesn't really, there's not something we can actionable. It's not something we can do. So anyway, fast forward a little bit, I'm meeting with a organization that provides counseling in our high schools here. It's in 3 high schools, STARS.
Cool.
Students taking a right stand.
Nice.
And they are funded in Rutherford County at Laverne High School, Oakland Middle, and Riverdale.
Okay.
All the other schools would love to have them, but they don't.
Have the bandwidth.
They don't have the bandwidth. And they're really only here because of funding from United Way. But everybody, they've integrated into the school system. The teachers know they're there. And so, but they hadn't done anything for elementary kids. They had a program called Kids on the Block, a puppet kind of thing where kids are, they use that to tell the story about child sexual abuse and kids identify, so anyway, they hadn't really done anything like this for elementary school. So I was talking to the director and I said, "Hey, this is kind of the need down in Rutherford County. Dr. Gilbert has expressed this." And he said, "Well, let me work on it. Let me put together a plan and then you get us together." And so he did. He came down and we met over at the city schools central office. And Dr. Gilbert watched the presentation. She said, "This is exactly what we need. If you will provide it, you will be in all of our elementary schools." There was only enough funding to put them in 6 of the elementary schools, and she was able to get Centerstone to do the other 6. But anyway, at that point, there were mental health counselors inside those elementary schools,
Man.
and it had never been done before.
Wow.
But we had a partner, with
Yeah.
Dr. Gilbert, who focused more on the whole child and saw the need and knew where to go to get the assistance or
That's amazing.
find somebody. So a great, it really was a great step forward
Yeah.
for our school system. We still got opportunities
Yeah.
to bring to expand stars in our schools. In Williamson County, they are in every school, and they're 100% funded through the Board of Education in Williamson County. So it's an opportunity for us. We've been spending most of our time focused on growth, on building new schools and things like that.
Out of necessity.
Out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, we're going to have to start being more proactive, thinking ahead, and what are we going to need if we continue at this pace?
Yeah. Man, that's a lot of stuff. You're just doing it anyway. So like just adding the label is one thing, but the work continues. You're going to do what you're going to do regardless. So I think that really speaks to who you are, what you really represent, and the servant in you, like actually walking your talk, doing the work, and being out there regardless of accolades or titles or parties or political anything. You're doing the work regardless. And I think that's something that we can all take a little nugget away from, to actually be out there doing it. That's something. I mean, I think, thank you. First of all, thank you for all that, because you're just sitting here naming off all this stuff, and I'm like, how do you sleep? What do you? I mean, it's incredible. So thank you. First of all, thank you.
So Trent, I'm one of those people that, when somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm going to lose my house at the end of this week if I don't get a job," a job's not going to get you a paycheck by the end of this week,
right?
In most cases, I mean, other than maybe day labor or something like that. But I wake up at 2:00 in the morning and say, "I got to find something." I know that's a great.
Just get them in touch with that.
Let's do it. And so that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it has to do with the way I was raised. I think that I was raised at a time where we took care of our neighbor.
That's real.
Where we paid attention. And I have a really good friend, used to be the president of First Tennessee Bank here, Phil Holt. And he spent a lot of time, really sharing his insight. A lot of times, the things that we just take for granted, are things that other people struggle with. Or, I'll say, well, hey, man, somebody will tell me about the problem, and I'll say, go talk to Trent Denson. And then it's like, who's Trent Denson? Where do I find Trent Denson? I mean, you got to go through an entire process to get them there. And I think most people know that I care deeply about this community. And that means I care deeply about you.
That's real.
And so,
and you walk that talk, and you've seen it. Yeah.
I don't, that's how why I don't have any hair.
No, I forgot. Jonathan Harmon's grandmother has a line that's, she said something like, all the perfect heads don't need hair, but the rest of them God put hair on. So
that's right.
The imperfect heads got the hair on them.
That's a good one, man. I love that.
Yeah, man, I feel you. But that's exciting. I mean, I think it goes without saying, like, your heart's clearly in the right place, and you truly want this town or this city to be the best it can be. And everything that comes with that, that's a laundry list of things that we got to tackle, and and just the stuff that you've already put in place, and the connections you already have, and the work you've already done. I mean, checking off, traffic, taxes, what was the other one?
Trash.
Yep. The hottest button, the 3 T's. And then, and all things mental health, affordable housing. I mean, and it all works together. And the stuff that you're already plugged into kind of gives you a head start in a lot of these issues that we can kind of, a lot of these things that might seem insurmountable, or, things that we can't. That's something I'm to that point myself, where I'm like, we act like we don't know what to do. We act like we don't have the solutions. We don't have the resources. We don't have the know-how, to really turn things around. Not that, it's all bad, but there's just a lot of issues where we could tighten things up, get resources to the right people, and do the work again, actually go do the work. And that's what it takes, especially right now. Like, things are really wild, and it's going to take the doers. It's going to take the helpers. It's going to take the people that care, it's going to take us that's like really down for the cause, and not the cause being a better overall community, a better overall collective and stuff. So salute to you, man. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to sit down, and obviously pulling for you, man. Anything we can do, we got you. You got STP and the whole network in your corner. All the stuff, man. Anything we can do, please, we're here for you. So any final words? Where can people find you? Where can they donate? Where can they get involved? All that.
So I will say, just, one of the things that I have really heard a lot is that, the people in this community want trusted leadership. Yes. They want somebody in that seat at the courthouse who not just says, I will act with integrity, but has proven the integrity, the character. Somebody they want to work with, somebody they know that's out doing the work. And I think that goes out to, that's not just for the average person who's living in Rutherford County, but also you have to know that the most valuable resource we have is in any business is your employees. Yeah. If you invest in your employees, or what is the saying? If you don't invest in your employees, someone else will.
Yeah,
and that's facts, I'm going to tell you that our county employees, they are a valuable asset. We've got to not just recruit new ones, but we've got to retain who we've got, and we've got to utilize their experiences to make us better. And I think that, the fact that people don't see me as someone who has an agenda. I don't have an ego. I don't have baggage. They want that in there. And, I don't think with this in the current economy, it's just going to make sense for us to go and try to recreate the wheel.
No,
I think there's some great
the foundation's laid. Yeah, the foundation's there.
Here. Yeah, we just need to utilize. And I think it's for me, from my perspective, it's time for us to move forward in a new way, and that means focusing on getting ideas. I mentioned measurable outcomes, but bold ideas with measurable outcomes.
There you go.
I mean, that's transparency.
Exactly.
That's showing people, hey, here, and I'll give you a quick example. So, when I was growing up, you'd do a math problem and the teachers all wanted to see your work.
Yep.
And now when you are working on math problems, kids are working on it. It's like, don't show me your work. I don't need to see your work. Just give me the answer.
Google's got that. Man, that's so crazy.
So it's crazy.
That blows my mind. Just thinking about all those math equations that drove me crazy back in the day. Could just put it right in Google and be like, boop.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're not learning cursive and things like that in our school system. So, but I just, I'm not a career politician. I'm just somebody that is concerned and a citizen of Rutherford County, and I love it here, and I want it to be as good or better than it's ever been. I want to do the things that are important. I'm excited about the hard work, and I'm looking forward to being the next mayor. I'm ready to take it to the courthouse.
Let's go.
But as far as how to get in touch with me, we've got Facebook is easy. Randy Allen for County Mayor.
Gotcha.
We've got a website, randyallenforcountymayor.com.
Gotcha.
We've got an Instagram page. And I know you'll be linking to that.
We'll share. We'll have all that in the notes for sure.
And we're going to be doing, early voting starts tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
Election day is August the 4th. So hopefully you'll be, people will get out and actually
get
vote.
out and vote, people.
Yeah,
that's important.
Even if it's not for me, get out and vote.
That's right. Let's I feel like we got to give a shout out to some other folks in the room. Your campaign manager and her fearless sidekick. Becky Lanham in the building. Yep. Shouts to Becky and Remy holding it down in the studio as well today. And also got some help from new intern helper Reagan Thornley. Shouts to Reagan for her help today. Thank you so much. But man, Randy, it's always, like I said, it's such a pleasure. Every time I get to sit down with you like this. And man, we got a pretty good platform nowadays to really tell your story and what you're really about. I think we did a pretty dang good job of it today. So thank you for who you are, what you represent, what you're bringing to the table, and just all the work that still needs to be done. We're here for you, man. So we got resources in our corner too. So we're going to do some big things. So y'all get out and vote literally tomorrow. Go push that Randy Allen button. I'll say it for him. He's my choice for sure. Like he said, not a career politician, someone that is a servant already doing the work. I mean, that speaks so much louder than any campaign slogan or anything else out there. So shouts to you, Randy. Thank you for everything. We'll jump off.
All right. Thanks, Trent.
All right.